are all well aware, sorry, that nomination forms have started being issued by the Independent Electoral Commission at the election house. And the nomination itself will take place from the 30th of October 2021 to the 5th of November 2021. And during this period, all those who collected nomination papers and wish to submit their nomination will each be given a date and a time to submit their nomination paper to the returning officer of the election, who is no other person than the chairman himself, Aliou Momad Njie. The IEC is also working with the Gambia Police Force to put in place sufficient security to avoid any unnecessary or ugly thing. And the police will be there to help in crowd management, traffic management, as well to secure the premises of the IEC. And for your information, this year's nomination will be held outside the offices of the IEC in the compound, not in the conference hall. And we appeal to all of you to cooperate with the police during this period of the nomination. Moving on, I will now give a list of requirements for nomination of a president. Among them is a candidate shall be a citizen of the Gambia. 2, a candidate must have or attain a minimum age of 30 years. 3, a candidate must have completed senior secondary school education. 4, a candidate must have been ordinary resident in the Gambia for 5 years immediately preceding the election. 5, a candidate must be nominated by not less than 5,000 voters whose name appeared in the register of voters, with at least 200 being drawn from each of the administrative areas. 6, a candidate must present a sworn declaration of assets. 7, a candidate must also put forward or present an income tax, a tax clearance certificate. 8, a candidate must also pay a deposit of $10,000. 9, a candidate must submit his symbol, color, and photograph to be used in the election. 10, a person who is qualified to register as a voter under the Constitution and the Elections Act may contest as an independent candidate. 11, a political party or candidate shall abide by the Code on Election Campaign Ethics prepared by the IEC. And last but not the least, a candidate must also submit a manifesto before his or her nomination is accepted. These are requirements for a candidate to be accepted. So on that note, I want to draw the curtain here and thank you very much. And back to you, Director of Public Affairs.
Thank you, CEO, for that detailed briefing. And as you know, this is a IEC stakeholder engagement. So it should be interactive. So now we would like to open to the floor to make discussions, ask questions, and we try to keep answers to questions that may be. And also to be mindful that the main agenda for this meeting today is on the nomination process, which should start from the 30th of October to the 5th of November. So you may ask questions about what is available or how do we intend to go about it or what are the changes and things like that. Okay? So now you got the opportunity to the floor and then you may just remind us your name and then also your organization. Thank you. I hope we have the other mic.
Thank you very much. My name is Yusuf Taylor for Gynaco Online News, the editor. My question is regarding the voters register. We've observed that after the 6 weeks was completed, there was about 987,000. And then we've seen that sometime not too long ago, we observed that it's when we calculated from what was issued again, 960 something thousand, we saw that there was a reduction of over 25,000 voters from the list. And when we tried to rationalize that with the 3,000, which was estimated as double registration or multiple registration, we see that 25,000 and 3,000 is very far. So many people want to know about the 25,000 voters or plus more who have been removed. To please clarify that, because people are concerned that they will go and vote and they might be taken out. So that's the first question. And then the second question is regarding the scrutiny of candidates. We, the journalists, are really interested in making sure that we can look at that scrutiny process, especially this time, whether there will be sufficient time, because depending on how many candidates we have, having to go through all of them in one day can be a challenge. So those two questions, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we take 3 and then we respond to the 3 and then we take another 3, okay? Then we have the director.
Who should I take it to? Gentlemen?
Thank you, thanks. Good afternoon. My name is Ndaisrem Bakuri from Tango. Thank you, Honorable Chairman, for those opening remarks. And thank you for having this briefing. I think this is very important for all of us to be updated. And one thing I would want to comment on is, like you have said, urge everybody to make sure that we have a peaceful and fair election. And we all have a stake here, and we have to make sure that we all contribute our bit. It's not only IEC, and see how we can work closely with IEC since your doors are open and we know that. And regarding information, I think we will appeal to everybody also to add our voice as CSOs, that we should verify the information we get, because sometimes you get information on social media in particular, and maybe it's not been verified, and that can cause confusion. And we have to remember, Gambia is a small country, and we are all interrelated, and it's important to give out the right news, and that applies to the media. I mean, I also participate in the media fraternity also. Having said that, I know you said we are not well represented here, but Momodu from OneApp is representing many people, and he will share the information from here, and there are a lot of conflicting information or conflicting engagement. That's why we all cannot be here. So you excuse us for that, but we'll share the information we receive from here. Now, I want some bit of clarification when it comes to the nomination, because I'm not clear. It's very straightforward here, what is put here, but my understanding, I'm sure other people, regarding the residency of people who want to come as one of the requirements. Is it Do you have to live in the Gambia continuously for 5 years, or can you live here partially and live somewhere else? I think that needs to be clarified. This is very important for all of us. And also, when you pay the deposit of 10,000, is it refundable or is non-refundable? I think that needs to be cleared. I think this is very important. And in terms of receiving the nominations, is it on the same day when you receive it? I'm sure my colleague Flex have mentioned that. When you receive it, is it that same day you have time to scrutinize it? Or can it be submitted? You look at it, review it first before. I think this is important because sometimes we receive this thing and there are many people who are aspiring to be a president in this country, as so far what we have seen. It's really important. Do you have some kind of check and balances, and do you have a schedule? How prepared are you for that kind of thing when it comes? Because from experience, when you receive nomination, you have too many people who are there and so forth. Will you have time to really look at the document or is it that you look at it first before formally taking the nomination? I think this needs to be clarified. Anyway, once again, thank you for the opportunity and for updating us. And we look forward to a peaceful and fair election for the Gambia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Then now we have Omar.
Thank you so much, moderator, for giving me the floor. Looking at the 12 point requirements for nominations of aspiring candidates, I am almost believing that they are very easy to get for all these almost 20 aspiring candidates. Is there anything aside from these 12 points that could disqualify anybody for nomination outside of these 12 points? Is there anything else that could disqualify somebody? Thank you.
Thank you. May we see your report on that questions?
Okay, thank you very much for those interesting and important questions regarding our engagement today. First, I want to say that on the voter registration, perhaps you did not attend the last monthly stakeholders forum we had in September. This is why you're asking about this question of the 987 and the 962, the difference of 25,000. We have clarified these things, that the 987,000 that we gave at the time was provisional. When we verified all the data we collected from the field, sort them out, do the correction, it goes down to 962. There should not be any worry for any voter who has registered thinking that his name is deleted. No. During the process, there were issues regarding photography of applicants, and they were redone. There were people who also, for one reason or the other, their names were not correctly spelled, and they asked for correction. So all these things we are taking care of, and our system in such a way that anything that goes in, you cannot delete it in the field. And what the field was reporting was what they were producing. So If you reprint, the count goes on. So those ones were filtered and corrected. This is why it goes down. And again, like we always say, if there is a provisional, there's always final. And in terms of election, if the final is less than the provisional, we are good to go. If the final was more than the provisional, then I will not be pleased because you will be accusing us with over-registration or hidden registration. So the 25,000 that is being talked in town is as a result of the verification and the processing of the data we have received. So I think, like we said the last time, the IEC has concluded on the voter registration. It's now a thing of the past for us. We have activated the presidential election, and today we are in the nomination. So we are moving on. On the issue of the public scrutiny, you are asking for more time for the public scrutiny. But let me hasten to say that the public scrutiny is there for each and every Gambian to come out and scrutinize. It is done when we concluded the nomination on the 5th, the next day on the 6th, and it's from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., 12 noon. There cannot be any more time. These are legal issues. 4 hours. Yes, that's what is in our laws, electoral laws, and we cannot change it. On the issue of residency for as a qualification or a requirement for registration, the law is very clear there that for one to be accepted to run as a candidate, you must be a resident of this country 5 years to the election. We know the election is now scheduled on the 4th of December 2021, meaning 5 years to that day, 5 years before that day, that is 4th December 2016, at least you must have been here that period. But if you enter this country after that period, your residence of 5 years will be less. Moving on, deposit is always refundable, provided that you have the requirement to get back your deposit. The law is very clear on the Constitution. If you receive 40% of the valid vote cast, you get back your deposit for presidential election. If you don't receive that, you forfeit your deposit to the IEC. On the receipt of nomination and verification, we advise candidates, even this morning when we met with the political parties, we advise them when they receive their paper, when they collect the papers and fill it, let them bring it in advance to the IEC for verification, vetting, and advice. Because we don't want anybody to come, any candidate to come on the very day of nomination. We look at it before the media and we say this is wrong or that is wrong. So we encourage them to bring it. But again, the IEC will always take time when they receive a nomination. Even whereas a nomination has been vetted, we'll go over it again and vet it. Remember, we have 8 to 4, but during election, we don't close. So there is a lot of things that happen after work. So I can tell you on this nomination. And again, we also have a checklist of what the law has asked us to ask. This is our guide, and we are going by that. On the requirement of these 12 points that you said, whether there is any other thing, what I can tell you, we cannot say anything out of the law of the Gambia requiring for the qualification for presidency. If you have missed any of this requirement, or you cannot fill one of the requirements, the candidate is not going to be qualified. If it's a manifesto, if you don't produce it, you are not qualified. So basically, this is what the law has asked us, and this is what we are going to look for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Steve. And then you may have another 3 comments or to ask questions. Yes, come on. You want to come on?
I am not clear with 2 points. One is the issue of having to reside 5 years before in the Gambia before
preceding the election day. Madam did ask whether this has to be continuously, or you have to be here, maybe partly, maybe for a year or 6 months, you can travel and then come back again. But this is not clear. He only repeated to say you have to be in the country 5 years before the day of elections. We are not very clear with this. Also, why I asked the question if there is anything outside these 12 points that could disqualify somebody from being nominated is there is a lot of talk around somebody being convicted and that may disqualify you from being nominated. This is why I asked the question if there is anything else outside, because it is not mentioned in this 12 points. That is why I asked that question. And he just, I think, just repeated again that these are these 12 points you must meet. And if you meet them, you are nominated. If you miss one of them, you are not nominated. I did not say meeting them or not meeting them. I am saying outside of them, is anything else there that could disqualify somebody from being nominated? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And Vice, do you want to react to this?
So,
Okay. What I just want to say, CEO, we're talking about the presidency. I just want to refer you to Section 62 of the Constitution. Because if you read Section 62 of the Constitution, that is what is going to give you the qualifications and the disqualifications. I know, like this number one, when you look at being a citizen, when you look at 62.2, it gives you that you don't have to have a dual citizenship. So we just say nationality. But if you look at number one, if you look at 62.2, it tells you, it gives you some of the disqualifications. It gives you like tax and things like that. I think that is what you are asking for. So like if you are dismissed as a public official and all those things. So all those things are on 62.2. The qualification of presidency is. Yeah. I know what you mean. Yes. So those are quite. So yeah, these requirements together with Section 62 of the Constitution, they will give you exactly what you need. You understand? Because you cannot be a Gambian and a Senegalese and you want to be a president. You have to relinquish the other one. So you have to retain the Gambian citizenship. I think those are some of the things that you're asking for. Yeah, conviction is there because conviction is talking of, as I said, 62. You have to public official. But the problem here now is you have to read also 166, Section 166 of the Constitution. It tells you who a public official is. Okay? And then you may further confuse yourself if you read Section 230 also. So there will be further discussions on these things. But these are some of the things. So if you want to know the qualifications and disqualifications, you read Section 62 of the Constitution, 1997 Constitution. Yeah. Sam. No, we have two questions. So Sam is going to.
Let's be orderly, right? Okay. Let me allow the CEO to make a comment, then we take another two. Okay. Okay, CEO.
Thank you, Vice.
You can hold on a bit.
yes, moving on. On the residency, we are saying the law is saying 5 years preceding ordinary resident. An ordinary resident, like the Vice was saying, under Section 62 is interpreted there. So I will refer you to Section 62 for further readings and understanding. Our work is not to interpret the law for you, but to implement it. So, and this, what we understand is ordinary resident, at least 5 years, you must have been here. If you have not been here before, for less than 5 years, then you do not fall, you do not meet this criteria. So that's what we are saying. And the other disqualification, this is just the qualification. You have disqualification, a whole lot of them. So what we are telling you now is the qualification. The disqualifications are there. If you are not a citizen, you cannot contest. If you have two citizenship, you cannot contest. And all other things, they're there on the 662 for further reading. So I think that's the resident has spoken on the legal requirement. Let's take more questions.
Now let's allow for 3 further questions. We have 1, we have 2. Okay, we have 2. Okay.
Once again, good afternoon. I am Imatu Koka, a reporter working with the Standard newspaper. Basically, I want to know how did IEC intend to manage these 33 candidates within a period of 7 days in nomination? I want to know how many candidates do you want to nominate in a day? Because we have a quite lot number of candidates this time vying for presidency. So I would want to know, what do you intend to do?
Okay, thank you. We have number 2.
No, but I think here,
No, number 2, please.
yes, he identified the people. Sorry. It's number 2.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I am John Charles Njai, chairman of Tango. Thank you very much, IEC, for this stakeholder engagement and the good work that you've been doing. I think the gentleman from QTV, I think point 10 would answer your question if you are looking at that. I think the issues of constitution can be handled under the constitution. I want to talk about observation of the nomination process and the electoral process. I am a bit concerned that civil society in the Gambia has been a long-term partner of the IEC. In a number of cases, we've stuck out our neck in defense of the IEC. But lately, I've seen that there have been tensions between civil society. I am not a hypocrite and I speak my mind. And I don't want to push this under the carpet because it's becoming uncomfortable on the side of civil society. We all know about the case that was taken to the courts. I have been informed by members of civil society that the IEC keeps saying that civil society has taken them to court. So civil society, some members of civil society that have taken them to court cannot be credible observers. If this is the case, I really need clarification. I don't think the matter of taking the IEC to court was personal. I think if civil society can take the National Assembly to court, I don't think any institution in this country is beyond being taken to court. And it was not a personal thing. In a meeting we had in this same room, IEC officials had said, in fact, this is a very good thing because if the courts decide, then the matter will be put to rest. If now this is bringing some tensions, I am getting very worried that it will affect the relationship between IEC and civil society. And I have also had IEC officials say that they have the right to give accreditation and or not to give accreditation. I would really like to know what the criteria for giving accreditation or not giving accreditation would be in the spirit of transparency, so that anybody that is rejected would be able to know what to do to seek redress. I believe in the IEC, I believe in the integrity of the IEC, and civil society stands to support. If the elections of December 4th is a football match, IEC is the central referee, civil society is the 4th match official. So we are mutually in this together, and I hope that in the spirit of togetherness, we will mend our fences and work together. But what I am seeing and what I'm hearing, I don't think it's good for our democracy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Number 3, please.
Thank you very much. To the IEC again, I think I've always said that this kind of engagement are always needed and timely, because these are forums where we need to clarify relationship. We also need to clarify issues that are of contention that are of interest to all of us. And for me, as a member of civil society and also academia that is also interested in issues around election, I am, and also, Uncle John did mention that I is also interested in public interest litigation. I wanted to understand what sort of a role or relationship or what kind of expectation is the IEC also expecting from civil society, particularly when it comes to this nomination. What do they really think that our role should be in the entire political process, and then how do they want us to support the process in that? I think that is also interesting, and I think it can help also address some of the issues that Uncle John has also raised. But I'm also okay, I'll stop there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we react to the three, or I'm sorry, we react to the three, then we take another three. So we want to react to the three.
Thank you very much, civil society. Yes, I think let's put things in perspective here and now, and for the clarity and clarification of all. There is no talk in town that we are aware that the IEC says they are not going to accredit civil society. Accreditation is based on principles, be it civil society, be it media, be it other international observer groups. For the case that some civil society groups, I will not say civil society, but some civil society group, to be fair to others, has taken us to the IEC to court. That is behind us now. We are moving on to the presidential. But we will not accredit any organization, be it media, civil society, or international organization, that has an open public relation with any elected member of a council, parliament, or a political party. And we have seen two civil society groups in the Gambia that has joined hands with an independent elected councillor in the city of Banjul, taking IEC to court. The principle of, I am an international observer, election observer. I'm just coming from Zambia. Even the principle of observation is even not to talk to the media. It's only the head of organization who is allowed to talk to the media. Let's talk less of civil society going to court with an independent, with an elected official. They have shown position. They have taken already a decision. And the reason, the objective of observing is to pick the shortcomings, the gaps, and give it to the Electoral Commission for policy development. No, that did not happen. They've proceeded to the court to call for the cancellation of all those names being registered, and the court decided that go wait for this revising court. The revising court came, they did not go there, and only to go back to a court of law after the revising court, which has no jurisdiction, and only to withdraw it. So then what are we saying of a civil society? You see, the principle of neutrality, impartiality in election observation is very good. You can be a civil society, being a lobbyist, you can go to anywhere. But once you are accredited, this is why we are telling you this time, we have developed a code of conduct for observers. And that code of conduct, one of the points is the IEC reserves the right to cancel the accreditation of any observer should you be proven political or biased. So we have no problem. We are all Gambians. Our relation is not today and will continue. But if you have taken a tax, that tax goes with certain responsibilities and is within the parameters of certain code of conduct. don't go against the code of conduct. As an IEC official, I cannot do certain things. Otherwise, the IEC will not accept me to be sitting here. So as a civil society, if you accept to be an observer, more so, if you look at the prayers of those civil society that they tendered before the court, they say as a result of their accreditation, meaning you are using information against the IEC. This is the issue. You could have been a civil society, go on your own, do your lobby, do your whatever, fine. But you cannot be an observer at the same time, go to court. It is wrong, it is unethical. It is against the code of conduct of observation all over the world. This is the issue. More so you go with an elected, and you were saying we have given powers to an elected official. So what are you telling us? Who is fooling who here now? This is the issue. So I think you should all understand what is happening. Once you are an observer, you have to work within the code of conduct. This is the issue. We have nothing against any civil society, but if you go against the code of election observer, then you have breached the code. And once you breach a code, I mean, that's it. So our relation has, when we go out, we even tow your toe, we tow your toes, we paddle your canoe. We always talk of civil society, civil society. Even in the elections project that we have, we make sure that civil society is well captured. So we don't have any qualms against any civil society, but we want to remind civil society that if they are civil society and want to be an observer, they have to work within the code of conduct of being an observer. And the code of conduct of being an observer, even the international, ask the EU, ask the Commonwealth, ask the ECOWAS, ask the AU, which I have all served except the EU, as an observer, they are telling you don't even talk to media. Talk less of going to court. Here you have a civil society group. I'm still saying a civil society group, not civil societies. To be very clear. Let me learn, Mr. Jai, my brother. Let me learn, Mr. Jai, let me learn. This is a group that came in and asked questions. We answered them. They're fine. And only they wrote another letter asking why we responded. The next minute, we saw a summon. So, I mean, after us, if we are not Gambians, after us, we just want, you see, we are not saying we are controlling the electoral process. We cannot. But the electoral process must be regulated according to the laws of this land. Because at the time, the mandate rests on us. And we don't want any confusion in the electoral process. We cherish your intervention when you came to our assistance in those days. We thank you very much for that. And it was done in the interest of government. And we also working with you in the interest of government. But we cannot work with you in the interest that will split or bring confusion. This is our position. And we are not saying we are not going to work with you. We want you to come back to the code of conduct. That if you accept this, you cannot do this. Or you don't accept it, you go and do that. I think I made my point. Thank you, Mr. Njai. Clearance. Which clearance again?
No, I needed clarification.
Yes.
I very much agree with your point. I would be the last individual in this country and on earth to support any civil society that I believe has an ulterior motive or a political motive. I would not stand by that. I just needed clarification when you talked about observers accredited and the case that the people that took the case, in this case, Gambia Participates and Center for Research, said that they were accredited, something like that. And from the accreditation, it's like they have taken their accreditation against the IEC. I'm not too clear about that. That's what I needed clarification on. But the issues you have raised are very pertinent issues. I'm not too sure whether maybe we need to sit and really look at the whole thing to understand whether it was a partisan and political thing rather than just because I believe in the two institutions that took this process, if they are in any way compromised, I'll be very much concerned. But I agree with your point that we as civil society, and you will know that we have stood in different platforms where we have even been accused of holding brief for IEC. So I will not be in a position to undermine the IEC or defend anybody doing that. But it is good for us to have clarity, because there are issues of misunderstandings. And for me, when we met here and talked about even the issue of the case, it was very clear that it was a case that needed clarification on whether the mayor of Banjul could give attestation or not. But I mean, you have said that is water under the bridge, but let us not burn our bridges. And let the IEC also not take a position that, well, if this is the case, then this group is biased, is this. I believe we could reach an agreement. We have started on a path and on a journey together with the IEC that we will do all in our power to defend. It is not on this 11th hour that civil society will be fighting the IEC. Please be rest assured of that. And I will not put my name and my integrity at stake for anything like that. So please be rest assured. But I think we need to have a very frank conversation going forward to see how we could build up on our relationship and make it better. As I said, if it is a football match, we are the fourth official on the sidelines and supporting you, the referee, in the center of the field. Thank you.
So you're still watching Government Talents TV as we bring you live coverages.
We have actors, and this issue can be resolved if there is any issue. You are saying civil society. We are not saying civil society. We are saying civil society group. Well, no, Mr. Jai. No, I want us to move on. Yes. So can I? Mr. Jai, can I tax you? Can I tax you? Get those two groups. We sit together and we look at it, and let it be as early as possible, because by next week we are moving, we are traveling, and by the time we are back, it's almost nomination, and we will not have time to meet.
We will agree for a time before we leave.
Yes, I will check with my chairman's schedule. Thank you, sir. Before Friday, we can sit with those groups and we understand each other.
I appreciate that. Okay.
I think it's better. Because it's better sitting there saying, I'm going to court, IEC, and we are telling you that you are going out of code of conduct. So that is not in the best of, okay. So, okay.
I think the point is made now.
Yes, okay. I think we will settle that now. Sorry. What is your question again, ma? Sorry. Madam, I'll come back to you. Standard. I oversighted it because of the civil society issue. Thank you. Yes, you said about 33 candidates. What I can tell you here, the IEC cannot even announce a single candidate today because there is no nomination. So wherever you got your 33 is a news to us. It's not official. No, let us be official here. And we have scheduled 7 days for nomination. And if we have more than even 35 or 33 you are talking, we will settle them during this period. That's what I can tell you. But at the moment, we do not have even a candidate. What we know is people have collected forms. Whether they will come to file in for candidature, I don't know. Is that clear? Thank you.
Okay. So now, hello.
Yes.
Let's observe the order. Okay. So now, let's get number 1. And number 2. Okay.
Oh, okay. You're still watching the Government Talents TV.
Thank you very much for thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words at this August gathering. My name is Hannah Foster. I am the chair of the CSO Coalition on Election. And we've been following the discussion. And I want to assure the IEC that the steering committee of the coalition met last week. And we are holding a meeting of the general body tomorrow. And we will be discussing about this particular issue. And what we want to do is for us to know the circumstances under which these things took place. We are all have the interest of seeing a free, fair, and peaceful elections. But if within us we have already started creating conflict, I think it's a recipe for disaster. So I want to crave your indulgence, and I want to discourage the exchanges. And I promise you that from our side, civil society, we will put our house in order. And I'm giving you my word as chair of the CSO Coalition on Election. After we finish, I think if you do want, you can meet with the two organizations. But I must say that these two organizations got their accreditation through the CSO Coalition. And we feel that since there seem to be challenges, we will try to address it. And my other colleagues from the steering committee are here, and they can confirm that. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you, Ma. Thank you. Then we get number 2.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to ask the CEO a question. You said you are going to. My name is Asante. Asante. I'm Asante. I'm an election administration expert from Ghana. So you are going to use 7 days to receive the nominations. I'm trying to get the sense, how are you going to verify the requirements that are submitted to you, especially the signatures? Because I remember you said you are supposed to collect about 5,000 signatures with 200 from each administrative region. When the forms are submitted to you, do you have any mechanism to check that these signatures are genuine? The people who have who have endorsed these forms are correct within these 7 days, so that it doesn't come out that after the nomination, somebody may say that I didn't endorse this nomination, and so I don't know anything about this. And all the other documents that you are taking, how are you going to verify all these documents before you pass the person out that he's qualified to contest? I know you have a policy where the citizens can also verify these things, but the IEC itself, how is it going to verify all this information that the candidates will submit before you pass them or you qualify them? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now we have number 3.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Fatu Samba. I work for the Gambian Talents TV. My question is, how much access will the media have during the nomination period? Will there be any, can I put it this way? Will every media house be given access to cover the nomination using their own gadgets, especially as the online platforms? We may need to do live coverages, and that involve different settings and different gadgets. So we want to know what is the setting like? Can we bring as many cameras as we can, because we're talking about nominations, and when we are live, we are not expected to use one camera. So we want to know how will it go? And the other thing is, how many people can be accredited to cover the elections, as well as the deadline? Thank you.
Then we take our 3. See you.
Yes, thank you very much for those questions. And to begin with, the issue on the civil society and the civil society coalition and election, is good that they are looking into their own house. Then we will leave it at you to look at it properly. And if the need be, you come back to us, because this is very important for all of us. On the Mr. Asante, you have election administration?
Yes.
Of where?
Ghana.
Ghana. Are you sitting in here for a civil society? Is there any organization called electoral administration? Because we have Ghanaian partners The Electoral Commission, they are our mentors, and we work with them. But as far as we are concerned, we have not gotten any request to be here from Ghana. So we have to be very careful. So in fact, that goes to all the civil society and media houses. From now onwards, we'll be really screening attendees or attendants for security reasons. Because as we into the elections, our life will be at risk. So you will understand us, please, huh? So, but nonetheless, I'll take your questions. Let me just tell you one thing. 5,000 names are not too much for our database to check. The law is saying 5,000 names. And it's up to the public to come and see whether Sambujang Njai's signature is against Sambujang Njai. But once we have Sambujang Njai's names against Sambujang Njai's voters card number correct, we accept. And this we do not only for nomination, but even with political parties. This is why when we check political parties, it takes a long time because when we check, we normally realize the names and the numbers don't match, and we ask them to go back to the field and do it. So this is not much for us to do. That's what I can tell you. The other requirements, they have documentation that it need to be presented. And we always ask all documents should be in original. If you bring whatever document and which is not correct, and it is found that it's not correct within this period, the IEC will not accept you. If it's found later, this is why there is this public scrutiny that people should come and look at it and make objection. If they don't make objection and we cannot find it, then that's it. On the issue of access to the media, during nomination and elections, in our last monthly meeting, we did announce that invitations are open for accreditation, both media and civil society. We are all here, but on the 30th of October, if you do not have the IEC badge, believe in me, the security will not let you pass J.R.A. Johnson. No, let us be very clear. Now, I don't want to take you by surprise. They will not let you. We are going to give them strict warning and they'll go by it. Please send in your accreditation application. Because we cannot let everybody go in. Remember, with election, and during election, people come with a lot of intention. I am not saying you, but people can hide under the name of civil society. For the first time, I'm here in the election of the administration in the Gambia. No office, no civil society is within our midst. We also value our lives, and our security is with the police. So we are going to give you them stance instruction. Do your application now. If you wait till a day before election, if we cannot process it, you will not be there. You have nobody to blame but us. Some of you who attended the last meeting, it was said, and 1 month today, and no media house has up to today applied. Oh, this is not argument. We have no flex. Don't please, madam, please. We have not seen it. Yes. You sit here asking the deadline. We said this thing since last month. You are asking us deadline. We are moving on to something else.
Okay, CEO, let me just focus on the nomination. Mr. Asante, as CEO right this year, the nomination is from 8 to 4. But during elections, we don't normally close very early. So we're going to do this. And then what happens these days is when candidates come for nomination, we don't give them the acceptance, letter. You understand? So we give them what is called receipt. So we give them a paper to indicate that we have received your nomination form. So the acceptance will only be given after the scrutiny, because we don't want to give acceptance letter to anybody, and then on public scrutiny, the person is queried. Then we're going to have problem. So we're just going to give what? We're not going to give the acceptance. We're just going to give each candidate a receipt to signify that we have received your candidate. So the only time we're going to give you the acceptance, confirm your nomination, is after the public scrutiny. So we know it that way.
My question is not.
Which one? Accreditation.
Yes, gadget for live coverage. It's not unfair.
No, okay. What
No,
we're going to do?
What we're going to do is, as CEO has said, we had a meeting yesterday with the event planners because, of course, you know the conference room is very small, so we want to have it outside. So maybe a week or so we will engage the media, and then maybe we can ask you to come over, and then you see the setup. Because maybe 2 or 3 days before the nomination, we will set the tents, and then the sitting arrangements will be there. So that at least you will come, and because we know that obviously you will want live coverage. Not only you, I know what QTV and the other media, they will also want live. But we just have to help each other because this is also COVID time. So we have to, but we will definitely coordinate. So that's your contact person. Is the director of communication. So you will liaise with him, and then we know. Even the observers, the sitting arrangements.
Yeah.
We will also coordinate that.
I think we'll have to reserve a space for the media. That's obvious.
We will have to do it, and we will get back to you before nomination so that we can see, show you where you are going to be. And again, you also organize among yourselves so that you can all fit in there. But definitely, we will not allow journalists to be moving around within the premises like that. Honestly, we are not playing with security. And this day and time, we have almost our system is live on. We don't want any issue on that system. So you cannot allow anybody, we don't know all of you. And besides, you have international media coming. So you will inject the GPU, inject your GPU, we inject the GPU so that we can have a place for you enough that you can, because you owe it to the government to see what is happening that day. And that can only be done through live coverage. Am I right? Yes. Yes. So that should be allowed. But if you want to be a container on that in that place, problem. So you should understand. But you will see how best to arrange it. We definitely understand that, honestly. All right.
And also the media, the personnel, I know normally you have one reporter and one photograph. Maybe tell them to bring in one reporter and not maybe hundreds, huh? Just to make sure that we fit. Okay. All right. So now we have another.
You want to say something about the online class? People like us. We normally have 3 cameras, 2 people at the technical department, and then reporter.
Yeah.
So that's something you people should put into consideration as well.
That's it. We are going to engage with you.
All right. So as you can see, there's a conversation right now going on. And that's, yeah.
But we don't want to allow also the media personnel to disrupt the whole process, the smooth operation of the whole process. We value you, we respect you. You are asked to apply, and please apply and get your accreditation. What is important is for you to get that badge. You don't get that badge, the police are going to look for that badge, and you cannot be calling the CEO. Honestly. Indeed, I think that.
Okay, thank you. So now
that is why for the first time we are doing the nomination outside, not within the hall, just to make sure that all of you, well organized, will cover it live. As you know, before it was done within the hall, and now that's too small because of the freedom now the whole country enjoys. So we want to have everybody involved, especially the media and the CSO. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. So now let's take
On the question, so if you're still watching the Gambian Talents TV. So here we go.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My first question, I have 2 questions. I wanted to ask regarding what a lot of people have been talking about. This video, which has gone online viral, of a gentleman with a bag of voters' cards at a rally, at a political rally. What will the IEC do about this? This might affect the nomination process. A bag full of voters' cards at a rally. What will the IEC do about this? Will they even issue a statement to warn people to desist from this? That when they caught, these are the consequences. People are taking people's voters' cards and putting it in plastic bags, going to rallies and demonstrating it in there. What will the IEC do about this? Secondly, the chair has made a very important statement with regards to the ballot papers. This will be the last elections, they say, that will. This will be the last elections that will be done with marble. The next elections is in April, after December. Is that enough time to shift from marbles to ballot papers? I am actually one of those advocates who advocates for ballot papers. But the time issue, is it sufficient, sir? Those are my two questions. Our change from marbles to ballot papers. And voters' cards.
Thank you. And then number two.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Mar Nyang, and I work with Gambia Participate. Thanks. Okay. Just wanted to say I'm happy for some of the words that I've heard from the IEC, and also as a member of the civil society organization with my colleague that took the matter to court, I just wanted to make some clarification. I think there are political parties that are registered with the IEC. There are politicians around the country, known by everybody else. There is no individual or registered political party with IEC that will come in and say Gambia Participate is a member of this political party. And the court issue, I've had a lot of stuff going around, some articles being written about why civil society organizers are taking the IEC to court. And we had our accreditation and then take IEC to court using that accreditation. Number one, we did not apply for accreditation to observe the registration. So I wanted to make that clarification. And when we observe the issue of the attestation, we, I mean, when I say observe, meaning when the attestation was being given by the mayoress, myself, my organization, and then that of CRPD, and the independent elected officer of the Boxbar Ward, who is not a member of a political party, though a politician, who is also a citizen of the Gambia, who also has the right to challenge what has been going on in his ward, decided to join us to take the matter to court. So I did not see any iota of being a politician in that. These are citizens that are concerned about what is going on. And it's not a fight. It was a constitutional matter. We were going to court to ask for clarification whether Section 12 of the Elections Act give room for the mayors to give attestation, or whether the IEC can bank on Section 27, I believe, of the Elections Act to address what is not being addressed in the Elections Act. So we went to court to get clarification. We have a judiciary arm of government that give interpretation to the law. Like my boss Sambujan said, they are there to implement the law, not to interpret. So we went to the arm of the government that should interpret the law, to interpret it so that we are all at ease, because the issue of the attestation was becoming contentious, it was becoming heated, and then there has to be clarification in law. And that's why we went for the clarification. We do not have any interest to fight the IEC. We've been working with the IEC, and the vice chair seated here could attest in 2018 when we developed an app to make the work of IEC easier for the electorates to have access to election information. And we were very happy that he came and then launched that app called Marble. And also they invited us to sit in their hall when they were giving results, and then we're putting it out so that people can get live election results. So going to court is a new thing. We have a new democracy that is building. People see you as an enemy when you go to court. We are not fighting an individual or an institution. If IEC fails, we fail in entirety as a country. We do not have that interest. And then, as a to also make another statement regarding the election observation, we are not applying for accreditation to observe the elections and then use that information against IEC to court. We have never done that before. And then my concern is, and I have to set the record straight, this issue is now becoming personal to IEC staff. And I'm happy that someone did mention to John that we can resolve this outside. And we wrote a letter to the IEC to resolve this outside. But we did not get any response. When we called the IEC asking for information, they told us you cannot expect cooperation from us when you take us to court. So it's definitely getting personal. So as civil society, we believe we are independent in the work that we do. This is not the first time we have taken a matter to court. We took the National Assembly to court about the loan, and those that took the loan, every time we take them to the communities. Until date, we are taking them to the communities to talk about the budget. And they are responding. No, I have to. Sorry. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that we are having zero interest to fight the IEC or to fight anybody else. Whenever we go to court, it's always about interpretation of the law, and then we got the clarity, and then we move on. I myself said, or my organization, none of us have any relationship with any political party. So I just wanted to set that record straight. And then we also expect for, how to call it, a relationship, a very beautiful relationship between the IEC and the civil society. So if the IEC said some member of the civil society, we see ourselves because we are the one that went to court. So we are apolitical, and if we become political, it's against our laws as an organization. So I just wanted to set that record straight. We have never applied for accreditation, use that accreditation against the IEC to go to court.
Okay, thank you. Then we have
Mr. Park. Director, please. Let's complete the director. Let me just. I wanted to close this chapter and we move on. But it seems you are trying to prolong it. But in your prayers to the court, item number 7, you say as a result of accreditation, and that document is before the court. I will publish it for all to see. Mr. Ma, we started in 2011. When you started, you were with us. We carry you along. 2016, yeah. I'm going back as far as that. 2016, we were, and you wrote to us, we explained everything as if you were not satisfied. And in the midst of the registration, you want us to change horses in the midst of the river. We can't do that as an electoral commission. And again, after even the revising code, you go to court. Let me just say these things. We are not against you. There is nothing personal against you. But the fact of the matter is, we know you are not a registered member of a political party, because we have all the registered executive members of a political party. We have checked your name is in not any of them. But we also know you went to court with somebody elected. Once an elected person, you are a politician. That is undisputable. And I want to rest this case, if you want us to move on, so that we can sit as a group and move on. Let us stop this thing. It is not helpful, honestly. Yes.
Okay, let's take number 2. All right. We're running out of time now, right? Let's take number 2. No, number 3, please.
The quick one.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I have a question with regards to the requirement for the nomination of a president, point 3. Aside from completing grade 12, is there any educational requirement needed from the candidate? Maimuna Jadi from Gambian Talents. Thank you.
Senior secondary school, if you have anything over and above, be it PhD, master's, bachelor's is accepted, but anything less is not accepted. Understood? On the bag full of voters' card, we have seen it. A politician who came out. But let me tell you one thing. It's no news in the Gambia. We go into our houses, our moms are in charge of our voters' card. And that voters' card is not a voters' card. It's only useful when it is held by the owner. No one can vote with another voter's card. So these are all political gimmicks. No. You ask your question, I'm answering now. Flex.
Yes. Would you please?
My brother, he's my good friend, you know. He followed me up to Nyamina West. And he nearly lost, and he was driving behind me. So I'm not surprised. He's always like this. He's the only journalist who called me even in the weekend. So we know each other. But nomination is very simple. Get the let people sign for you, and they bring it. So it has nothing against. It do not impact on this nomination. We are telling people to hold their voters' card. And if you lost your voters' card, if you give somebody your voters' card, you will not be able to vote. That's what we are telling you. Because they may keep it. And it is our responsibility, all of us, including media and civil society, to go out and tell the people out there that don't give your voters' card to anyone. Together we can make it. But do not expect the IEC to be everywhere and anywhere. This is why we say election is the business of all. And for your information, this year the election team is the Gambia Votes 2021. That is all of us, Gambia Vote. So that's the team for this election. No longer the Gambia decides. Because some people have hijacked the Gambia decided. Because we coined that, and after some time, they pirated it. There was some plagiarism. And luckily, we have never registered it. If you had registered it, then we would have made money. But that is. So anyway, it has no impact. On the ballot paper, Flex, please, don't go too far. We said we have activated only the presidential election. And the presidential election, we are told that is going to be conducted on ballot token and ballot drum. And as we speak, we are doing the manufacturing or the production of more ballot drums to cater for the number of expected or forecasted candidates. So ballot paper, don't bring it now. Let's get the presidential election behind us like we did with the registration, then we move on. So, but don't put too much on our plate at the moment. No, it's okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So maybe we can take 3 more and that will be...
Last lap, because we have to go back to office to close.
Time is, we are running out of time.
Yes.
We have number 1, number 2. Yes. Okay, we have the last 2, right? Okay.
You're still watching as the IEC, they're having the function right now, as you can see. And people are giving out suggestions and ideas.
Hi, my name is Olufunta Akindu and I work for International IDEA. Thank you. I should. Forgive me for sneaking in. I have actually been in some meetings the whole time, but I just thought it would be great to, I thought it would be great to, just bring the good wishes of us as international partners and to commend the IEC for the work, going on so far. I have one question and one comment actually. My first question has more to do with I'm just interested out of curiosity, the civil society groups that are working on issues around parallel vote tabulation. Has the IEC signed specific memoranda of understanding with them? Just out of curiosity, just in terms of looking at managing information around the results management process. The other for me is more of a comment and, looking from the perspective of international practices and benchmarks. And I really appreciate that the CEO, mentioned the fact that, he's been in many countries and can see how some of these things are handled. And I was just, going to just make it on a level of a comment, looking at the question of how democracies develop and, how you build robust systems. South Africa today is in the process of discussing changing its electoral system for national elections. And where did that discussion come from? It came from the fact that a civil society group went to court alongside somebody who was asking the question, why don't we have independent candidates in national elections in this country? So it was a civil society group, and it was also an independent candidate that was interested in running. And now we are sitting with a situation where the Constitutional Court has said, relook at the electoral system, because the right to vote and to be voted for is for all South Africans. So you cannot have an electoral system that excludes some. This is what we call democratic development, 25 years after South Africa's independence. So the point I'm making is democracy is not static. It doesn't sit in one place. And as you go along, the judiciary plays an important role in giving interpretations to different aspects of the law. So I just thought to raise that, as more of a comment and just a thought around the international space. And, just also thinking around the questions of the right to effective remedy in an electoral process. It's not only politicians that have questions around remedy. Citizens, normal everyday citizens, of which civil society is the voice, also have that space. And I thought it's just important to highlight that. I'm not overtly familiar with the case in court for Gambia, but it's just important to know that as democracies develop, it is not static. There would always be questions that go to court that shake the table, but eventually when you put the table together, it makes a more robust democracy for the country. And I love the example of South Africa, where it is not static. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Number two.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to clarify the issue of the accreditation in relation to what Mar have just said. I think if I could recall, Mar, I know Gambia Participate is a member of the CSO coalition on the elections. But if I can recall, during the period of the voter registration exercise, I think you sent in your name to apply for you to be, as an individual and as a member of the coalition, to be accredited to observe the voter registration exercise. So I don't know on the part of Gambia Participate, but as a member of the coalition. So, but your name was there. Yes. Yeah. No, I just want to clarify these things because perhaps,
Yeah, okay, it's okay.
Can we continue?
Yes, let's just.
Because he's making a point. He's making a point. Let me just close it there. Let's move on.
Yes, Mark.
yeah, this is what I wanted to clarify. This is just what I wanted to clarify. Perhaps Gambia Participate might not have taken the, sorry, he applied, I know he applied as a member of the coalition. So perhaps it might have been as a result of these things, it might also affect the coalition's relations with with IEC.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So we have Madam as the last contributor. What do you think?
Thank you very much, IEC. I would want to seize the opportunity, since I'm the last speaker, to thank you for organizing this kind of briefing and consultation. I think this is very important to do the clarification. And as part of the civil society, we want to tell you that we are neutral, we are all partners in development. We all have a stake in these things. That doesn't rule out the fact that there might be some disagreement, but that can be resolved. And I think already the chairman of Tango and also the chairperson of the steering committee of the coalition of election, they've already mentioned what they should see. So as moving forward, I think it's very important the code of conduct and guidelines from IEC should be shared with us as soon as possible. This is very important so that we can avoid what happened in the past, and then we can see how to address the issues, because we are all partners. We all have something at stake here. And if one civil society have an issue, we are a group. So we have to make sure that you don't say it's some civil society. We are all partners in development, and we have to make sure that we work as a group. Thank you for organizing, and we look forward to receive these guidelines as soon as possible, and also the code of conduct, if there is any, even for the nomination, because you said we should apply for the badge and all those things, and for the election. And the state of preparedness of IEC is very important, and where you need our support or any other institution, I think you really need to get that as soon as possible. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you. The CEO will just react to those 2 points, and then we have
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Bakure. For the code of conduct, you can get it from where you are, because it's on our internet, on our website. And I urge you to be visiting our website for updates. And I urge all of you, I entreat you to be visiting our website for updates, because this code of conduct is uploaded, and the invitation is also uploaded. Sometimes it's very difficult to send letters to all of you. This is why you will observe that for you to come here, we go through your organizations, through the civil society, through the GPU, because it's easier to go, and they will, because we have a lot of things on our table. So pardon us for that. And perhaps that's what we were, Momodu was saying, whether a civil society A, B, or C applied direct or not, but if the civil society coalition on election and which you are a member, and we have you in the document up to the court of law, that because of this you are doing these things, we have that in the court. I am not going into that again. This is what Momodu was trying to say. On the civil society accreditation, please apply. You can apply individually, you can apply as a group or whatever. On the democracy, to my sister, welcome to the Gambia. I heard Wednesday you were airborne, Sunday when you were airborne, I heard of you, but still then I've never seen you. Thank you very much. She has raised a very important point. This is a new phenomenon in election, PVT, parallel vote tabulation. Here, we are now doing counting on the spot, and there comes the parallel voter tabulation. And by law, we are mandated to announce the official results. And by law, no Gambian, no organization is allowed to announce any results, or no media house. So this is why in our next monthly meeting, when we will be discussing on the polling, voting, and the declaration of election results, this will come up. So civil society, media organizations start thinking of parallel voting. You can have your parallel voting PVT aside, but you will not be mandated to declare results, even at polling station. What you see at the polling station is just the polling station result. You will not be mandated to announce it. So she has raised a very good point. Maybe you can engage with her on this PVT. It's very interesting. So that will be maybe a pseudo result, a parallel result of the Electoral Commission. If the Electoral Commission decide publish something different, usually there is no variation if you have your figures right. So that's very important. I don't know whether you are thinking of the PVT, because we've gone into now at least the second time of on the spot voting, and the last time there was nothing like